Hey y'all, what's up? I'm here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 9, The Reunion Part 2. We started off, we're kind of where we left off from last week where Portia and Candy was still kind of going at it. And then, Andy, he kind of shifted gears a little bit. Somebody, had asked, do Portia feel like, the things that she went through with Cynthia, that situation that happened between them two on the boat, and the shit that happened between her and Kenya, do she still feel like that they deserve, all of that, considering, her going to anger management now? And, Portia claims that, she apologized to Cynthia and Kenya or whatever, and she don't feel like, at this point in time now, looking back, she don't feel like that they got what they deserve, but neither did she. And, Kenya, she claims that Portia never apologized, and Phaedra is trying to encourage Portia to apologize so that it could be on camera, so they'll have the proof. And Portia, like, it is or whatever, so they do a playback from a couple of seasons back or whatever. And Portia was saying, I acknowledge, that it happened or whatever, this, that, and the third. So she acknowledged the situation that happened between her and Kenya, but she never gave an official apology. And I feel like Kenya never really apologized either. And if she did, I didn't feel like that it was sincere. So, like, calling the spade here, you know what I mean? But anyway, so Andy, is asking, I don't think it was Andy. I think it was one of, like, the viewers' questions or something like that. But they was pretty much asking, do Phaedra believe that the other woman bullied Portia? And, Phaedra was like, yeah, I do. I feel like she's an easy target and everything. And, she was like, I mainly feel like it with Kenya or whatever, this, that, and the third. I mean, now, like I've said before, I do feel like sometimes it do be kind of a gang up a little bit on Portia, but will I say bullying? No, because I mean, Portia has done stuff too. She's not, you know what I'm saying? But there has been definitely situations where I felt like, Portia was kind of ganged up on a little bit. But as far as like bullying, I wouldn't say she was bullied, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so Kenya, she's like, was she being bullied with that situation that happened with Jamie or whatever, this, that, and third? And Phaedra was like, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't speak on that, you know what I'm saying? And Andy, he asks, well, how do you feel about Cynthia? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like she bullies you? And Portia is like, well, not by herself or whatever. And Cynthia is like, well, you feel like I bully you in a group or whatever because, I just say how the fuck I feel. You might not like what I have to say, but I don't be bullying you and everything, this, that, and the third. And I do feel like that when it comes to Cynthia. I never really felt like Cynthia was like like I said, I don't feel like Portia gets bullied, period. But I definitely don't like get that vibe from Cynthia. I feel like Cynthia just lays it out there how the fuck she feels, and it is what it is. But Portia, she feels like that nothing that she does is good or whatever, to improve herself. And Candy, she feels like, Portia is contradicting because one minute, oh, we scared of you or whatever, and the next minute you're being bullied. Like, which one isn't? And when you think about it, it does sound like Portia is contradicting herself, because anybody who's being bullied, like, nobody's going to be scared of you. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, but anyways, moving on from that, they get into, Kenya and Matt, their whole situation. And, Andy is asking, like, why would you take him back or whatever? No, I think it was one of the questions. Either way, it was asked, okay, why would she take him back, after going through all that shit with him? And Kenya was like, she stayed longer than she should have, just like a lot of females and everything. And Andy is like, well, why wasn't a lot of the shit that he did, from showing up to Charlotte, so aggressively the way that he did, and him doing that stuff to your house, why wasn't a lot of that the last straw and everything? And Kenya, she's like, because he was always sweet and everything, and he was sweet or whatever, but when he would start to get angry, he wasn't getting it, like, it wasn't towards her, but he would like take his aggression out on other things or whatever. So she didn't equate that to being abuse. Kenya, I mean, girl, that's still abuse. That's still abuse. Just because, you know what I'm saying, he didn't physically put his hands on you, he was going to do it sooner or later, okay? Like, let's be serious here. Cynthia, she kind of interjects or whatever, and she's like, you know, I would tell Kenya over and over again, why are you still with him? And Andy is like, well, you know, you feeling that way, why would you try to kind of help them get back together, you know, in that particular moment or whatever? You know, Cynthia is like, you know, because every time Kenya would end it, it'd be like 2 days later she would be back with him, and it was just an on and off thing. So she just wanted to see what the issue was, and maybe she could help out or something. And you know, Candy, she's like, you know, nah, you know, pretty much like the rest of us, he was going to hit her eventually, you know what I'm saying? And you know, Kenya says that she hadn't seen him around that particular time. She hadn't seen him since the whole Charlotte incident. And you know, Andy is like, well, I mean, did y'all fuck in his car? Oh, you know, he said y'all fucked in his car or whatever. And you know, Kenya is like, well, I think I did see him one time and everything, this, that, and the third. And she owns up to the whole them having sex in the car, whatever. So then somebody asks, you know, why was she no, somebody asked Sheree, why would she bring up Kenya's situation when she was in a domestic violence situation herself, or domestic abuse situation herself? And Sheree was like, first of all, I didn't say that I condone that or whatever, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying, regardless of the fact. And you know, Kenya is like, well, you said, you know, why is Matt breaking your windows and everything, and you're provoking this, that, and the third. And Sheree was like, I mean, if, you know, she's trying to explain herself or whatever, saying like, well, if you're scared to kind of travel with him, Kenya, she cuts her off, and is like, I never said that. And, you know, Sheree is like, okay, but you're scared to be around Portia, though, or whatever. And, you know, Kenya is talking about how she was mocking abuse or whatever, and, you know, how, you know, what was it, last season when Sheree had took up for that crazy dude, you know, that they was chilling with in Miami or whatever. They're, you know, still going back and forth and everything. You know, Andy is like, well, Kenya, you did say, you know, you did bring up Sheree's, you know, situation or whatever, knowing that nobody really knew about it. So why would you kind of reveal it like that when y'all had gotten to that little argument or whatever? And Kenya was like, I didn't reveal it in that way. And Portia and Phaedra, they was like, yes, you did it in a taunting way. And you know, Kenya is like, I mean, she blamed me for the abuse I was going through. Now, I will say they both were wrong in that situation. They both were wrong. I mean, you know, and I think I did kind of get on Kenya more a little bit when that situation happened, but I should have got on Sheree too. Sheree, you did bring the shit, you did, you know, throw the first jab when it came to that whole domestic violence shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe, yeah, Kenya shouldn't have put the shit out there like that, considering nobody knew about it, but y'all both were wrong in that situation. And, you know, Sheree is like, well, I don't know if she provoked Matt or not, whatever, but, you know, why, you know, still saying why was she scared of Portia. And, you know, they still, you know, just kind of going back and forth or whatever. And, you know, Sheree is like, I don't even know how she know any of my business, because I ain't never talked to her about it or whatever. And Kenya is like, I mean, we had a deep conversation or whatever, and somebody told me and everything, this, that, and third. So, you know, somebody had asked, you know, Kenya when she's going to stop hiring people to be her boyfriend. And, you know, we've been saying that shit about Kenya for, you know, years now, whatever. And, you know, because, you know, Matt had accused her, you know, of booking him for the show or whatever. You know, we all saw that on the blogs or whatever. And Kenya is like, I mean, Matt posts and deletes shit all the time or whatever, this, that, and third. So I don't respond to him. And Andy, he's like, you know, do you have a new boyfriend and everything? And Kenya was like, I mean, that was between us, but okay. And Andy is like, no. You know, Matt had posted something earlier. He posted an open letter, and he was saying how you had a new boyfriend or whatever. And Kenya is like, Matt don't know shit about who I'm dating right now. And, you know, somebody also asked, you know, why does Kenya excuse Matt's behavior but is always bashing Portia? You know what I'm saying? Same shit that we've been saying, you know, all season or whatever. Kenya kind of finally owns up to the fact that they are similar, but she had love for Matt, so she tolerated more. Kenya, that still doesn't make any sense, because with Portia, at least she's another female. You could go, you know what I'm saying? You could go with her. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all can, shoot a fair one time, and you know what I'm saying? Because she's another woman. But with Matt, he's a whole dude out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be able to beat his ass. You know, like, it's not a possibility that you will be able to beat his ass. You have a possibility with Portia. You feel what I'm saying? Because, like I said, she's another female. So it's just like, you still shouldn't have put up with that shit, regardless of the fact that you had love for him or not. You know what I'm saying? And she talks about how the last time she talked to him was on New Year's, and he texted her from another number because he been blocked from everything. And how he was saying how he been going to church or whatever and finding himself or some shit like that. And she was like, all I said was, good for you, and kept it moving. And she realized that she sent the wrong message out to, a lot of young women out there watching her and everything. So at least she, realizes that, she was looking kind of crazy with this shit. And speaking of Matt, I heard apparently, he got a, well, I don't know if they put the sex tape out yet, but I did see some images of him and another female or whatever, this, that, and the third. I mean, whatever. So anyways, we get into Phaedra's personal life. Andy is asking, what's the current status of your divorce? Phaedra claims that she's divorced, but Apollo is contesting it. That means you ain't divorced, bitch, okay? That means, and then and like I said, we already know that Phaedra is not divorced anyway. We done seen, we saw it or whatever. She's not divorced. You know what I'm saying? The judge threw it out. But anyways, Andy, he's like, and I'm with Andy on this, he's with this other woman. So why is he still, what I'm saying? Like, what's the point? Like, what does he want and everything? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, Apollo, you is with a whole nother bitch. So why, you know what I mean? But apparently Apollo still wants some shit from Phaedra or whatever. Phaedra is like, I don't know what he wants from me, because I already paid him $100,000 or whatever. And somebody had asked, why do it seem like you're trying to hide your dating life or whatever? Like, what's the big deal and everything? And Phaedra claims that there's nothing to hide. Yeah, okay. And anyways, they asked Candy about, do she feel like that Mama Joyce had, kind of crossed the line with going to see a divorce lawyer in regards to Phaedra's divorce. And Candy, she agreed that yeah, her mama was out of line for that shit and everything. And Phaedra was like, I just thought, it was vile and it was just wrong, and I don't know what I've done for them to continuously drag me and everything. And Candy is like, girl, you've done a lot to me, you know what I'm saying? And Phaedra is like, with Mama Joyce's investigation skills, I thought she would have, been trying to investigate Old Lady Gang and why it's not open. And Candy is like, girl, we opening up this week. What the fuck you talking about? Or whatever. And, Candy is like, yeah, I know how you do or whatever. You probably going, you probably been calling around or whatever, trying to see what's what with me and my business and everything, because some people down there at City Hall or whatever, and you probably was going to try to get some shit shut down or something like that, Candy was saying. And Phaedra, Shady Faye, I could see it. You know what I'm saying? I could see her doing, some shit like that. Phaedra's like, do you think I'm that powerful or whatever? And Candy's like, girl, no, but I know you have a lot of people down there at City Hall and everything. And, Candy is like, we saw you hating or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And she brings up the whole Johnny situation. And, she's like, he hasn't worked with me over a year now. Now all of a sudden he gonna sit up here and come to you for legal advice and try to sue me, and you doing calculations and shit like that with him or whatever. She was like, your calculations must be way off. No wonder you ain't winning no cases or whatever. And Phaedra is like, well, no wonder why you're getting sued, because you don't pay your employees and blah 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 or whatever. And Candy is like, you just want to cause more drama for me. And Phaedra is like, girl, do you think you that important? Like, girl, bye. And Candy is like, yes, girl, hi. And anyways, moving on. So Andy brings up, when Candy had her little, food testing or whatever, how, Like, did you appreciate Candy from pulling her mom away from you to ask you about your divorce or whatever? And Phaedra is like, I mean, I guess I'm grateful or whatever, but my mama don't act like that, and I don't understand how people could continuously, come for me or whatever. Now I will say, Candy's peoples at the Candy Coater Factory, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Phaedra, like, they both continuously come for each other, but Candy do need to get a hold on her people or whatever, you know what I'm saying? She do need to get a hold on them. Just because you might not be saying shit and they saying shit, you still participating in the fuckery, you know what I'm saying? So Candy do need to, like, get a hold on that. But anyway, so Candy is like, girl, please, you control everybody around you, including Portia or whatever. Kenya, she kind of chiming in, agreeing and everything, and they talk about the whole bombing incident or whatever, and how, Phaedra didn't hire a bodyguard. She already had that bodyguard prior to, and whatever. I don't care, They bring up, why, about Phaedra always bringing in Black Lives Matter into every situation. In some situations, it's not warranted for that. In this particular situation, it was not, warranted for that. And it kind of, it kind of takes away from what Black Lives Matter is really all about or whatever. And Phaedra talks about how all the charges was dropped from, from the dude or whatever. And, who cares? So, anyways, they asked why, Phaedra didn't disclose her divorce details with the other ladies, and she feels like it wasn't none of their business and everything. And Portia, she did realize that she did spill the beans and everything, but it wasn't on purpose. It just was slip of the tongue, because Kenya didn't know that Phaedra was divorced when she threw the divorce party and blah blah blah, whatever. And Phaedra is saying, I mean, it wasn't a secret or whatever, so it wasn't a big deal. And Andy is like, so why didn't you tell the other ladies then if it wasn't a secret? And she's like, well, because they're not my friends and everything. And Kenya, she starts pulling shit from the blogs or whatever, sitting up here saying, well, apparently she hasn't told Apollo either. And Phaedra, she's like, well, he has to be served, and papers and blase, and you should know because you've been sued numerous times. And Kenya's like, girl, and I've won them all. That's right, Kenya. So anyways, he kind of, he's telling her, he's telling Phaedra, girl, you did lie about your due date when you first came on this show and everything, and this other stuff that you kind of lied about. So it seemed like you have something to hide. And Phaedra is like, I don't owe nobody nothing. Me just giving you an answer is just out of courtesy and everything, because I don't owe y'all shit. And Phaedra does have a point there, but girl, you lying about something as simple as a due date? Like, girl, like, come on. That does kind of bring your character into questioning. So anyways, she shows Andy the divorce papers or whatever. Once again, we know that her and Apollo are not divorced, okay? So anyways, this is when Kenya brings up the blogs, actually. She's bringing up how, Phaedra misspelled Apollo's name and blah, blah, blah. And Phaedra's like, oh, are you still talking to him, Kenya? You can't be worried about Apollo, not Miss Kenya and everything. And they start going back and forth. She's calling, Phaedra Shady Faye or Phony Faye or whatever. Moving on, we take a look back at all the kids from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and seeing, them from when they were little kids to their growth or whatever. Sheree, she does. She apologizes to Nene for, talking about Nene's son, a few years ago when her son had got arrested, considering that Cairo got arrested and everything for, a DUI or whatever. And, Candy talks about, Riley and everything, and how she was excited because Nicki Minaj, congratulated her on her song and everything, and that she's not forcing her. I still kind of feel like Riley don't really be wanting to do the shit. Like I said, I don't know if it's because Riley be nervous or just she legit just don't really want to sing or whatever. But anyway, she's like, my group is coming back or whatever. I don't have time to force her to do anything. And Phaedra, you know, she's like, yeah, she was saying how, you know, Escape is coming back or whatever, and how they're doing all this different stuff. So she doesn't have time to force her to do anything. And then here go Phaedra and Portia throwing shade, you know, giving each other like these looks or whatever. Like, I'm sorry. We knew who the fuck Candy was before she came on this show. We didn't know who the fuck y'all were. So all that cutting at the eyes or whatever, y'all can cut that shit for real. Anyway, so we finally get to Sheree's attempt to get back with Bob. And, you know, Sheree, she starts to, you know, break down or whatever. She was like, this is something that she would have never had talked about had it never never came up on the show or whatever. And, you know, she was like, nobody knew about it. Like, nobody. And, you know, she was like, it was a lot of verbal and emotional abuse. And then it got physical at some parts, too. And, you know, she was like that she just wanted to protect her kids. And she was protecting him as well. And, you know, she was shocked that he was just talking about, you know, the shit like that, you know, when they were in, you know, Hawaii or whatever. She was just so shocked that he was just talking about it like it won't nothing. And she was like, I think he forgot that the cameras was there and everything. And, you know, she said that it was one time that she was going somewhere with her mom, and he would sit up here and say to her, you know, the only reason why I wish the plane won't crash or whatever is because your mom is on it. And I'm just like, Bob is a real dipshit. And I can't believe I was rooting for, he's just a real dipshit, man. Yeah, I'm glad, you know, Sheree, you saw the motherfucking light or whatever. And you know what I'm saying, I'm glad you got out, you know, before you actually tried to get back with him. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Phaedra, you know, Andy is asking Phaedra's opinion on it, because she's known Bob for a long time. And, you know, Phaedra is like, you know, I was just really disappointed in him. And when he did that in the car or whatever, I just really wanted to beat him up and everything, because, you know, it's clear that he hasn't changed or whatever. You know, Sheree thought that he changed, and, you know, she was like that she still feel like she didn't get the answers that she wanted in regards to why did he abandon her and the kids and all that other stuff. And she doesn't think that Cairo or her youngest daughter, you know about, you know, what she went through with Bob. Even to this day, she don't think that they watched the episodes or whatever, but she knows that she has to talk to them about it or whatever. And she always comes off as strong and everything, especially to her daughters. And, you know, the ladies are giving her encouraging words, and, you know, definitely encourage her to talk about it with her daughters, which she says that she's, you know, talk about it with her kids, and she says that she is and everything. And, you know, it was nice to see them just be there for Sheree in that moment, throw all they shade to the side and just be there for her. So that pretty much was part 2, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys come back, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.